Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Premier League. My throat's still a little sore from the last set. Got really excited. My name's Gormizer, and we're going to be jumping into Renegades and NIP, and I have none other than Rain Day here with me to kind of help us walk through this one. And I mean, I'm gonna come out and say it. It's gonna be hard to follow up the show that was the last set, but I think these two teams can do it.
Yeah, it certainly will, man. It's going to be one of those challenges that we're going to have to somehow get over, though, by watching two other really good teams play. Like it's going to be tough. But
such a challenge. I mean, just watch really awesome Paladins all day on Thursday.
Man, you know, I think it's just the level of awesome.
I don't know if I can do it.
The level of awesome Paladins is too much, and it's boring me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
that's how you're going to describe that one. Well, we are going to be looking a little bit more in depth at the Renegades, who, again, and I said this last week about the Knights, but Renegades, very specifically, are a team that has been surprising, personally, me. And part of it is because when you look at the roster change-ups, we were unsure. I mean, week 1, week 2, week 3, really, are they playing with Shadow? Are they playing with Loki? Like, when is that swap going to be made? Is it going to be made? But right now, Shadow is still playing with them, still doing incredibly well.
Yes.
And still making the team look pretty good.
And that's cool. I mean, I think, you know, the way Shadow's able to come into this squad and invigorate them when a team, you know, like Renegades is around for so long, and the questions were, you know, what are they bringing new to the table that's going to up-level their game now that they're here in the PPL, and so many other teams have made big moves, like we saw with Virtus Pro. Shadow seems like the move that the Renegades made on accident that ended up being what they wanted. It was a strange way to look at Renegades without ClickQ, but man, it somehow worked. And I think the big key for me is not only just Shadow and his ability to keep doing that, but the role that he allows Invocal to play without trying to you know, match over the same champions gives him a lot of diversity. But it's really a great flex for Moonchopper to get good at, that aggressive front line. If he can do that, I think Renegades are going to be a dangerous team.
And that was actually something that was really fun. I got to talk with Moonchopper a little bit yesterday, where it very much was, why make that switch? Like, you are an amazing DPS player, and it was just like, it's easier for me to switch to be able to bring in, because they were saying, we're bringing in Invocal. We're bringing in this guy who's going to be an incredible DPS.
He's insane.
I don't need to be there for it. We can let him do all the talking. And like you said, I think the big thing is Invocal and Shadow. They have a couple of champions that overlap, but nowhere near as much as, say, like Invocal and Loki. It's going to be a much more succinct damage duo instead of kind of, oh man, I wanted to play that. Oh no, I wanted to play that.
And we got some prime, you know, kind of warm-up for this as well. Who knows how well he will perform, but what we saw the other day, and especially against Kanga, right, who have won their own set now, Renegades, they have one of, if not the best performing damage dealer in the entire league in this young man. He just turned 16, and I actually had a privilege of playing it against him in an Andro 1v1 when we went over to their team house, and I lost every time. And that's the story. But I did get really close to killing him once, and if I would have punched him, I would have, but I don't know. I forgot.
You forgot.
Heat of the moment, I'm like, I could kill it. This could be a thing I can say. I've killed him. But now I've
been able to take him down.
Can't say it. I could just tell this average story.
Weren't quite able to get that one done. But, I mean, these guys, again, they've been looking really well.
They have been.
At least in terms of their play. Last week, even against Na'Vi, they were able to get really, really impressive slash lines, but the biggest thing was objective focus. And I think, you know, even Phoenix kind of threw that one out there at one point where it was just like they were playing team deathmatch.
Yep.
We were playing the objective. We were playing, like, Paladins at its core, Siege, what it is. So coming into the day, like, what do you want to see kind of come out of the Renegades?
I really want to see the Renegades continue to build on what Shadow and Invocal have already done. If they have just the same performance that they had last week, this is going to be a great game. They're going to give NIP a run for their money. But I am really watching Moonchopper today. Can he flex into that role? And I'm sure they've been coaching him along the way to help make sure he's a little bit better at it.
And speaking of coach, we actually have Powtek standing by, ready for an interview. Again, we were mentioning the coaches during the last set and how important they are. Powtek plays a very big, important role in this. So let's go ahead and jump to him and see what his thoughts are coming on to this set.
Thank you very much, guys. Standing with me here is the head coach of the Renegades. First of all, you guys have had about a week off here. How are you guys feeling? What have you been up to?
Been feeling really, really good recently. We're just happy to finally be in the studio. Happy to finally actually get to use a computer. It's been 2 days since we played. But home felt really, really good. Got to practice a lot of stuff and feeling good coming in this game.
Absolutely. And across the aisle, you guys are going against Ninjas in Pyjamas. You guys have found your first win. You've also had a loss on your schedule. How do you prepare to go against a team like NIP?
We already know that NIP has been playing exclusively with Na'Vi before they got here, before the LAN started. So we kind of have an idea, but they haven't really played a lot of teams, so we're just going in with what we know, and hopefully it'll be good.
Does playing against a team like Na'Vi already help you going against a team like NIP?
Definitely, definitely. They play very, very similar.
Absolutely. Well, final question, any score predictions for today?
Hopefully something close, maybe like a 3-4.
You heard it here first. 4-3, hopefully coming out here for the Renegades. Let's send it back to the guys at the desk.
Keep it as close as you can, right?
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want to be able to, I mean, they just came off a really hyped 6-game set. They're like, okay, we got to one-up it. We got to go one more game.
Well, you know, my thing is that, you know, if you're Renegades, you really need to try to push the envelope. And the way that Virtus Pro have this belief they could be the best team, part of it starts to show in action. You do it, and then you believe it even further. You know, they're still, you know, maybe in the mindset of we're the Renegades, but I think I've moved on. A lot of people moved on and like, you know, you guys are a serious team to watch. They're a team that needs to be respected. And with the level of play that you guys have, I don't care if it's been 2 days since you used a computer, you bring in Vogel. Is Shadow playing? Are these, you know, you still got Moonchopper? Like, I think you guys will be all right. But NIP, they're a beast too. And we've been talking a lot about Envy, but NIP really have an all-star lineup this year. And it's going to be scary. And we don't even know, could they even be at the top of this whole thing when it's said and done?
And one of the things NIP and Renegades, this is actually something, again, I got to kind of talk to both of them yesterday at one point, but they've both made one really weird switch where someone who was a phenomenal DPS player is now their flex tank, is now the one playing a little bit more aggressive. That's going to be Diggy Dog for NIP. But Bittner is the one that kind of, again, pulled into this. Another player, very much like Fasheko that we saw in the last set, that has had such a phenomenal on-land presence.
Yes, he has,
and, I mean, even online, he was just a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, but Bittner really has just been so strong in his ability to hold down this role that it makes sense why you would see Diggy do that. And I think that he's going to continue to be a threat. And I like the way that Alex also is showing up big this year. And I've always seen that he's done well at LAN. He had a rough little, you know, online split with Mouse Sports, but that whole team really didn't have a lot of success. But the fact that he's now in LAN, he's already had a good performance. Bittner feeling good and showing that he knows what to do. And NIP are scary, man.
Yeah, and
They're
again,
scary.
I think it's these transitions, right? Obviously, Diggy Dog kind of moving, but still playing in a role where he's going to have an impact. You have Vogel on the other side that's going to be hitting a lot of shots, but I think he's going to be matching up against Alex, right?
Yeah.
That's where the snipers come in. I feel like I always used to harp on Alex for playing the Kinessa.
Let's see some of that.
But I do want to see like how they're going to match up, because we've mentioned in Vogel and how great his aim is, and we've seen it from Alex, but I feel like Alex and Bittner are kind of doing the same balance that you're seeing out of Shadow and in Vogel, where it's like, I don't want to step on your toes, you don't want to step on my toes. We have some champions that overlap, but Alex so far has been, I feel like I've seen him more on bomb camp.
Let me tell you this, though. He's been a very good flex to the BK that I did not expect.
Yeah.
Now, you know, obviously Diggy plays that role, too. So that's the big thing that they had to figure out. He's taking Diggy's role, and so Diggy was the blaster focus, right? So if Bittner's going to be, you know, he probably will technically match up against Invokal's champion pool, and Alex will be going up against Shadow's champion pool. And what we notice is that that's where things get tough. Alex and Shadow might be the things that tilt this fight and this matchup in one way or the other. Random Noob and his Drogos, it wasn't as impactful as he wanted. He hard-picked it into Leon, and that was truly a big problem. And so the drafting going so well for all of them, and I'm excited to see how this actually manifests as we get into the games.
Well, I'm excited because I got to talk to him a little bit yesterday during Esports Weekly, if you were watching. We get to talk to him again here. Diggy Dog is standing by with an interview for NIP and how the team is kind of feeling going in against the behemoth right now that is Renegades.
Thank you, guys. I flip-flop sides, and now I'm over here in the Ninjas in Pajamas booth with Diggy Dog. First of all, Diggy, how are you guys feeling today?
Feeling pretty good overall, yeah.
So you guys have had only one game so far. You've had a week off as well. What have you been up to? How's the week break been?
Well, it's all about the grind, right? We've been playing a lot and more, you know, just play a lot.
Lots of scrims, I assume?
Yes.
How have the scrims been going for you guys?
I'd say overall pretty well.
Definitely. Well, you have Renegades on the opposite side of you. Is there anything specific that goes into preparing to play them?
I don't know about too specific, but, like, of course we see how they play and stuff, so we're prepared for them.
Absolutely. Feeling confident going into this game today. Any score predictions for us?
Let's say 4-1.
4-1, he calls it. Well, best of luck to you guys today. Appreciate it. Thank you for talking with me. Let's send it back to guys at the desk, to kick it off.
Well, I think a little bit more confident. And again, something that I feel like has kind of translated is they know they're
that was
a good
horrible
team,
interview. That was horrible.
Very one-worded.
Say more than that. You're on camera for entertainment purposes.
Wait, hold on. I want to run the.
You could do that on your Twitch stream.
So you've been playing a lot of scrims?
Yeah.
cool. I can do a lot with that information. Yeah, I will say though,
Dave
it was
handled
very
that
fun.
well, though. I will say Dave handled that well.
It was very fun yesterday.
He was very charismatic throughout all of it.
They had a moment where, right as we were going to Esports Weekly, I was talking to Diggy before the show, and then as I'm leaving, I hear him immediately go over and be like, "So, can we scrim? Like, do we have time to scrim? Like, can we go play?" Because that's what has been on their mind. And again, that's what a lot of these teams are thinking right now. They are going as hard as they can to make sure that they don't miss that grind. They're looking at teams like Virtus Pro and saying, like, these guys are here 8 hours a day. Envy is scrimming 8 hours a day. Like, we need to match that if we want to ever catch up.
This is really the guy that needs to, we just had him on camera. Bonker. He was honestly, and has honestly been, my... it's kind of the motor for this team that keeps it going. We used to say Koa was kind of doing all that hard work and stuff. Man, Bonker's been such a flexible player, comes into the scene at a high level because of his DPS availability, and now you've got him playing on this myriad of roles, very much like Diggy, kind of out of maybe the comfort zone, but doing it so well that it feels comfortable to them. It's the lazy onto the Inara now, and for Na'Vi. So many of these players are showing us all of these different ways that they truly are champions, even if they don't get the end title at the end of the day. These guys are at that level, and it's just a matter of who plays better on the certain day, on the afternoon.
Well, we get to go to Brightmarsh first to start things off, a map we didn't even get to touch, I believe, last set. So being able to jump into this, I honestly have no idea which way this game could go. This is one of those sets where originally I'd come in and I'd be praising NIP and talking about how hard it's going to be for Renegades, but they've been playing really well on the side of Renegades, and NIP still, I think, has to prove themselves since they've only had that one set.
It's very interesting. Diggy,
What was that?
Diggy, there were more words written on that paper than you said to Dave in your interview. I can't get shown.
There were more words in 2 lines on that piece of paper than he said in
You're
his
saying more
today.
words now than you said in that entire interview. Oh, he's covering it up. Be ballsy, be confident. Where was that?
And make plays. You can't forget the last one.
I think, you know what it is? I think Diggy's a memer, and I think when you have a meme personality, it's kind of hard to, like, you gotta.
You can't take the interview question seriously, and it's like, man, how do I answer a question about
without
scrims
memeing or
joke?
like being slightly toxic? You know what I mean?
If you're alive.
Great guys, and you know what? Honestly, I think that
in this game,
NIP
you win
are
or you
probably
die.
going to win
There
this set.
is no middle
I
ground.
truly believe that NIP are going to win this set, but I think that Renegades have a chance to continue showing us whether they're a real threat or whether they're going to fall off, and that was kind of a Cinderella moment that we saw last week. And I'm very excited just for that.
Well, Khan, Ash, Leon, the ones that have come through, a very, very specific, and I want to say this is a Renegade-specific ban.
Check.
Cassie Drogos were taken off the board for them. They grabbed the Pip, which I'm sure is something you're excited to see.
Bringing out the big guns.
Ruckus, feeling good for Brightmarsh?
I like Ruckus here. I mean, I think this is also a very good look for Diggy, right? And when he's on that aggressive front line, giving him an ability to be an offensive player on a front line is really what I think NIP are going to be trying to position for them. Early Pip is interesting, though, and it's something that works well on this map, but so early kind of telegraphs exactly the style. A lot of times we'll see that on the river in the 5th pick. Right now, Renegade's going for a very consistent lineup. They got the Leon, they've got the Genos. I mean, I like this lineup as well.
Genos coming through, I think, maybe creates more of a fork in the road for NIP than they would have thought. Or maybe they, like most of these teams, have been playing against it and they know maybe a way around it to try and deal with it a little bit better. They close off their lineup. Mal, Damba, Zen to join in. And like you said, it has a very specific style. They kind of showed their hand at the beginning, but I still feel like they end up with all of the champions they wanted.
I think they definitely did a good job here. I mean, this lineup looks good. The only thing I'm concerned about is how aggressive they kind of have to be, because Khan is not great at holding his own, and neither is Ruckus on a point. So I think right now, if you're an IP, you know exactly what you're trying to do. And Renegades hopefully are sniffing this out, saying, all right, they're going to be really aggressive here. Or maybe they're just going to win the full fight and then move into Brightmarsh. We need to be able to counter that with some aggression of our own and not get caught out. And that's why the Eevee's brought in. We'll get to see Shadow and see if he's still got it today.
That's literally all I was thinking. I was like, man, we get to see Invocal on Leon and Shadow on Eevee with a damage amp coming behind them from the Genos. Like,
that sounds fun.
Going to be a fun set to watch. based on the draft, do you think Renegades, like with that damage amp, do they have the ability to overpower NIP, or is NIP too solid?
I think NIP are just a little all-in, but in ways where you could get baited out. So I think Renegades have to show a lot of maturity here because Pip can self-heal, Ruckus can emitter, Khan can self-heal, buy time, Dread Serpent, Slither, these will buy time for Namba, Zen, Billow, Whirl, counter.
True.
Every single character on NIP can buy time, reset a fight. So if Renegades all in too aggressively and then they lose, there's so much damage on NIP, they will be able to snowball through this.
Well, I think Wrecker and Cauterize are going to be Renegade's best friend coming into this course. Genos is going to be the one that matters most as we jump into it. NIP versus Renegades here on Bright Marsh. It is going to be a set potentially to stand time if Renegades get their 4-3, but NIP are looking for the 4-1. Let's go down to Dave and Nick to take us through game 1.
Thank you, guys. On the deck, set number 2 for the day has a lot to live up to. Set number 1 was a bit of a slobber knocker, Virtus Pro coming out on top, but here we have Renegades. Here we have Nip. Two teams, of course, predicting the win for themselves today. Alongside me to take you through this one, Nick, again, we just flip-flopped.
Hey.
We're together again today, and I enjoy it. But now we get to, instead of analyzing the Genos, we get to actually talk about it and see the plays.
That's right.
Eevee, Leon as well. So the Renegades having maybe more of the in-meta lineup right now. The Pip coming out as well on the side of Nip. Pip for Nip. Lots to break down in this one. But first onto the point here are the Renegades.
Yeah, first Pip for Nip on the day. Hopefully they don't slip. We're going to be taking a trip here. And hopefully
You could hurt your hip.
I know. Funnily enough, I'm actually having some random hit pain today. I'm feeling like an old man here, but hopefully the young hot talent in Vocal can make sure he's hitting all of his shots on Leon. Backed into a corner, back down. Moonchopper will be first blood. No cons, no pips in the first set whatsoever, but NIP have both of them here. Bright Marsh was, I believe, banned out as well. I haven't had the pleasure of watching it today.
Not just yet, and Vocal's doing a very good job starting things off here with the Leon, finding his angles, but instead it's Diggy Dog, the man from the interview, starting things off with 2, almost 3 here if he can drop the Barrack as well, and he's going to do just that with the help of Alex. And Ninjas in Pyjamas, after a slower start to this one, find the momentum, find some kills, and find their first point.
What I've been noticing today is, again, there's a theme of pressure, and normally the team with Genos has it, but right now, NIP have a very aggressive lineup. The guys called it all in on the desk, and it is really. Khan and Ruckus are 2 aggro tanks. Pip is a pretty aggressive blaster as it goes. And then you've got Zin, who's one of the most aggressive flanks in the game right now. NIP, despite not having Genos, are controlling the map. They are setting the pace of these fights. They're getting in Renegade's face and making this game very uncomfortable for them.
Super uncomfortable, and Alex has been the driving force of that discomfort. I mean, you saw on the back end of the first fight, he was in their base essentially, 1 or 2 man zoning the rest of the Renegades out. That's a nice graph there. None of them, they're all competing for top damage right now. Khan just falling behind, a little red filters in there, but Leon on the opposite side doing her best, and Vocal trying to hold on with that damage, and this is where she's going to flourish on the defensive end. You can just kind of chill up top and find the angles.
Can I see the objective time graph right now? Because I'm pretty sure it's literally just Bird on the objective. Like he's the guy. He's capturing the objective, just sitting there, and the boys are going in. Like everybody else is within a clip's worth of damage of each other. This is a 4-man frontal assault from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Aggression like this is not something I don't know if the Renegades are going to be super used to.
No, and I think the way you guys always put it is like, Genos will get you into a fight and keep you there initially. But the longer it goes on, I mean, if you're facing against a Damba who can just pour out heals left and right, that's a lot harder to stay in a fight against, especially when you're losing the damage to start things off anyway. Diggy Dog.
And you're being attacked on 4 different fronts.
Right.
That is another thing. You can't be looking in all these directions at once. Diggy, very aggressive. New to the aggro tank line here. Point tank is going to be bonker most of the time, but like we mentioned, this draft is just different. Diggy Dog is 6-0-5 right now. Normally, early game, you're looking at Ruckus to be the guy that gets in there and bullies people down and just kills squishies like Leon's, like the Genos. But he has 3 other people helping him do that job, which is why he's just back there for free this time. This is a lot of momentum to slow down right now for the Renegades.
The 11 streak coming in here for Diggy He has the Hexafire available, a nice Dread Serpent. He's not going to need it. There's 2 feared away. Anyway, the Shoulder Bash comes in, but he drops his second actually. That's 2 for Alex. But a lot of damage coming out from Diggy A 2 for 1. Shadow answers back, but Ninjas in Pyjamas right back onto the point. Climbing for 3.
Very high value. Overpowered looks like it got used there as well, but that fear wins the fight.
Yeah.
They're still sitting on Hexafire as well as Evil Mojo. Tenor, though, nice. Get caught slipping, and Vocal takes him down. Diggy finds Chopper. Diggy finds Hero. Diggy finds Invocal. Diggy's looking for it all. Diggy could go for it here. The pentakill would be good. Easy, just barely over the windmill. Taken down from down under. Diggy Dog is bringing the thunder in game 1.
Make it 4 for him. 4 up, 4 down, nearly 5. The Slippery Eevee makes it away, but a quadra kill. He'll take that 10 times out of 10. 3 points here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Largely on the back end of this ruckus. 15 streak as well for the Damba. And like you said it best, I think. There's too much pressure coming in, and you got a ruckus in your face. You got an Alex off to the side. You got an Evil Mojo and Pip flying around. Renegades just don't have the answer for it right now.
He's eating in his yeeting right now. That's all it's about. He's hurting, and he's skirting. Because that's what Diggy Dog is about, baby.
The man of many words.
He's no words, he's all memes. Lockdown Ice Storm's going to come out on the con here, but no kills to follow it up.
He lets his gameplay do the talking. I think that's the best way to look at it. The banner does come down for the Renegades, trying to keep Ninjas in Pyjamas on the back foot. So all ultimates actually used here for Renegades, really pouring it all into this defense early on. Only the overpower's down right now for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but it's relatively quickly charging as long as the damage keeps coming through. So Ninjas in Pyjamas have 4 ultimates to work with compared to just the through time and space. Enlightenment will come back as well. But there's the Evil Mojo. Does find Ash on the backside. Excuse me, Barrack on the backside. Gets him through his shield, as well as the Spite. The through time and space is just wide. Bonkar finds one, as well as Bittner. And the ultimates are starting to land. They still have 3 to play with here if they want, but I don't think they'll need them. They're going down left and right, and Ninjas in Pyjamas off to a hot start here. It's just the Barrack. He's going to drop, and Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to claim game number 1 in a very fast fashion.
Squeaky clean there.
That was squeaky clean. Diggy Dog, the driving force there on the ruckus, finding himself a quadra, a sliver away from the penta.
Did he die?
What did his notepad say? It was, I don't know, something.
Be aggressive,
be
ballsy,
confident, aggressive, and make big plays. Well, he filled out, he checked all 3 of those boxes in game number 1.
Practicing what he's preaching.
He's practicing what he's preaching. Ninjas in Pyjamas claim themselves win number 1 here in our second set of the day. Let's send it back to the desk to break it down.
Well, they won. And they did it pretty quickly, too. Didn't leave us a lot of room to maneuver. And I guess a post-game discussion. But Diggy Dog gets a quadra, almost gets the penta, but was unable to close it down. And very obviously, the damage numbers skew pretty heavily to NIP.
And great stuff from NIP. And we said this was going to be a matchup and really a lineup that wanted to do damage and run at you. They wanted to stay ahead of the curve, and they wanted to make things difficult. And it would take a very veteran-level team to be able to balance what their lineups were doing, take that aggression, and then apply a little bit of their own. Shadow's Eevee didn't get the job done, and Vocal had a couple nice moments, but it's rare to see him, even if their team loses, not having those kind of 10-2, 12-4 type games. And that wasn't the case. Brightmarsh just totally caught them off guard.
And one of the things we've talked about in the past, and part of the reason you could probably see Diggy Dog go 12-0 here with the 17 KD hay is the fact that when you look at a Pip Chicken, when you look at the Evil Mojo, that's 1 rocket launcher that he has to hit to be able to get that kill. Like, that sets him up so perfectly. Most of these highlights, he didn't even need that to be able to get the kill. It was all clean. And just a couple more shots. Shadow, I understand not wanting to let him have it, because you shouldn't. But I kind of wish he did.
And you know what? I think that's I think it's just one of those things where if you are the last man and somebody has a quadra kill, you have a job to your team to run away as fast as possible.
As fast as possible.
Because you cannot let another person who's winning the game against you also get out of the lobby with a pentakill.
Yeah.
Because then you just can't smack talk after that. You can't. You're like, man, all right, I can't really say anything. You know. It's a Paladin's code.
Yeah.
One of the 10 commandments.
One of the 10 Paladins commandments.
Yeah, I'll tell you the other 9 later.
When you're older.
And when you're older, son.
But hey, I mean, NIP, they came in swinging for the fences, and they were the only team that I think I've seen. Like, Envy won the first 2 games in their set pretty hard.
Yeah.
That was, I want to say, almost devastating for Renegades. Like, that's one of those.
It's not a
how
good
do you
feel.
even, like, when you sit there, like, you're like, what did we do wrong? Like, I mean, our draft was fine, their draft was okay, like, was good, but, like, we just didn't.
Well, what you need to do now is know that it was a draft and a map. I think that was the biggest reason why you lost that game. You know, we didn't really get to see you have any impact because you weren't like back and forth. There's no play. You just were instantly dying all the time. You were overwhelmed. So now, very much like we saw, Virtus.pro lost the first 2 games against Envy. You guys remember that, right? They lost the first 2.
That was a while ago.
So we could see a similar adjustment, but what I saw in Virtus.pro's first point into their second point was a wildly different approach and willingness to change. Renegades didn't change at all that game, so I'm a little bit less confident on them being able to bounce back from NIP just knowing exactly who they are right now.
And it's been big, I want to say, for NIP again. Yesterday, they were focused all in on scrims, all in on getting as much experience in the game as they could while they're all sitting together on LAN in a good environment. So they take that last Bright Marsh in 4-0. Ice Mines isn't normally the 4-0 map, though, so this one's probably one where Renegades, if they're looking to at least show, I want to say, the signs of life that we're kind of missing from the last map, they need to be able to pick it up here. They have the first pick.
Wow.
And, I mean, you were actually mentioning this in the last set. Eevee's not exactly the best on this map.
No.
But if you have Shadow maybe feeling confident about it, you might lean that way.
Yeah, Bright Marsh also into Ice Mines. That's crazy. That is
like a nice vacation spot into a place that you never want to set foot again.
Yeah, exactly. Your plane crashes in the frozen tundra when you're on your way home, and you're like Hawaiian shirt and snow. And you're like, how do I get out? It's the start of a great thriller flick as well. But this one has not been a thriller to watch, unfortunately. A lot of fun things. I mean, a quadra kill, but just not enough resistance, I think, for us to really see if this is going to be a set. Renegades responding with the con early, taking that away from NIP.
And banning out the Drogas, again, we've mentioned Shadow a lot, Invocal a lot, and I feel like even though last game didn't go their way, you can see just in that one ban how much NIP are valuing the fact that that's going to do a lot, not only on this map, but if he just gets his hands on it, that's his comfort pick. That's where he's going to find home.
Yeah.
And knowing the way Ice Mines works, again, going combustible, breaking those lines of
You
sight.
trespass
and
and are
more
unwanted,
damage, but NIP,
stranger.
they get up there. Nara, they get their Barrack. I think literally everyone on the team is happy right now.
I think they're feeling pretty good. I think NIP now have a pretty strong, more traditional lineup that's not going to catch Renegades off guard. The early Pip, the Zen, it's something that is really in the wheelhouse of Tenor. It's really in the wheelhouse of Alex to flex onto the Zen, which is kind of what's so nice about NIP. We said that, you know, Alex is going to have to play the BK. Tenor, not really that BK player. Obviously, he can do it.
Yeah.
But when Tenor wants to go blaster like a Pip, Alex has enough flexibility to go back to where he lived originally, right? On the Kinessa, on the Cassie, on the Zen, which he's added heavily into his professional draft pool. And Vocal still smiles, though, and that's one thing that I did sense about Renegades. They had a good energy about them, so even if they don't bounce back in the draft as well, I feel like they will keep their hopes high heading into this one as the Zen gets taken early again.
And this time, kind of dancing around it, trying to figure out where they want to go. And this is flexible, but I don't immediately think Zen when I think Ice Mines. And there was a point where Renegades were kind of hovering the Grover, trying to decide, is this who we want as their support? Genos has yet to be picked up at all in this game. And with Maldamba on the one side, NIP feel no pressure to grab a support. They're saving that for the end.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, is this like a Genos? I mean, this honestly seems like maybe plug and play with whoever.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, I doubt NIP would go Mega Potion Pip. And so, you know
but it could
that
still work.
And it could be Grover, and it could be Genos, but you really have an idea of where they're going. So Renegades now can build their last 2 picks, one being a frontline and obviously one being a damage dealer, to counter what that might look like.
NIP's roster just fully solidified in my brain. I was looking at Ruckus as not Ruckus. I was looking at Ruckus as a DPS. They've gone triple frontline here, which is something that, again, we've seen in the past with Genos, but Genos has normally been the, I'm going to go with the triple DPS, I'm going to do the damage augments, which still works with their lineup. I think Barrack and Ruckus bring a lot of damage, but this is very tanky on the side of NIP, which admittedly is an old style of Ice Mines that we've seen work.
It really is, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we've seen actually quite a. This is almost of the Fnatic type too. We've sometimes seen more of these aggressive players on things like a Barrack. The Ruckus is no problem. Saris, another support we haven't seen a lot, and that's probably why we forgot about her here. It's just she's not really brought into every single set. There's very specific reasons, and Bird's played Saris from the beginning, has an affinity for the champion, and admittedly, it will work very nicely on a map like this. I'm not a fan of the Victor, personally, but I hope Renegades find some success with it.
I like their adaptation, but it's kind of figuring out where they want to call home again. I think Victor, actually out of the two of them, I think I almost prefer Victor over Zen, but I feel like both of them are kind of pressured against the wall. Like, we need to bring something a little different and try something new.
They're missing the blast, the AoE pressure that a lineup like this is susceptible to when you're playing these double front lines, but he will be able to do a lot of damage. The problem is it's just he's not able to bring the same level of displacement on a triple front line like a Bomb King would, right? And those are already in the cards showing for NIP, so curious what Renegades have planned.
Well, I see the same thing I saw last map, which is that NIP have a draft that fits the map almost perfectly, and the question is whether or not Saris will be able to work here. They've gone the triple front line. Can they find themselves a second map? Dave, Nick, tell us about it.
Let me tell you all about it. Here, come get your news. We got Ice Mine 2 for 2 in our series today. Got Victor for the first time, got Saris for the first time. Some interesting coming out here, and Khan's made his way out here as well. No Drugos on this one, but some interesting teams to look at.
Storm of Bullets, Guillotine. I think that's probably the most unique thing about this lineup for the Renegades is that they've gone for some interesting talent choices, and while they don't have the blast or AoE pressure to kind of get rid or punish this triple tank and the stacking that is likely to follow, they do have the ability to just kind of delete rapidly a frontliner with the Guillotine ability. Early game, though, you can still whiff on that, right? They can get a heal. You can, get something to bail you out of that. Damage mitigation, shielding, that type of stuff will keep you alive.
Well, he's got 3 frontliners to look at on the opposite side. You got Inara, Ruckus, and Barrack. And a lot of the damage on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas is going to be coming from this Alex. That's really where coming from this Cassie, played by Alex. And that's really where you have to keep your eyes. I mean, he has to be the one to be the driving force in some of these fights. As I say it, though, Bittner finds one, drops in Vocal. The Ruckus heated up last game, hopefully heating up this game. Does find one. Diggy Dog answers as well onto Hero. Alex dropping the third of the fight. Ninjas in Pyjamas with a clean 3-0, and here comes the zone.
Not to say other teams are not scrimming, but NIP and VP are the 2 teams that have been here live kind of at the studio scrimming because I don't know what their house situation is at this point. But like we said earlier, they're here probably longer than we are, and we work here full time. So they're really putting in the hours. I'm curious to see the Renegades have in store for this. Moonchopper's going to try and hold this fight together.
He does, at least at the moment. The Hexafire comes out as well, and the Ruckus is so low on the backside, and Vocal dropped enough damage to clean up one, but now it's Shadow who's going to be the one to finish off some of these low Ninjas in Pyjamas target. He finds himself 2. He's looking for 3 now. Alex on the Cassie on the back foot. Can he add damage, or the tumble comes out? And he does make it 3 for Shadow in this fight. The rest of his team certainly helping him, but his damage is the one that pushed it over to the top, and 3 ultimates still for Renegades. Only the Seismic Crash, and soon the Dome Shield here for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
The fight definitely does change as ultimates start to come up. That's one more team fight win than the Renegades really had on Bright Marsh.
Yeah.
They got shut out hard on Bright Marsh. Ice Mines is a different story. Seismic Crash lands on the Chopper. Here comes the Fears and all of the ultimates. 2 for 1 so far.
2 for 1, make it a 2 for 2, and Vocal drops 1, make it 2 now for him as well, and now he's got a Ruckus to deal with. A nice fight, drops him 3 for in Vocal on the Victor, and Renegades have found their footing here in a big way. And I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it looked like Moonchopper on the Fernando actually in a really good way. Actually moved in the way of the Seismic Crash that I think was on its way out the door and was on its way to stun up a couple of the Renegades members. So either some luck or some skill, but certainly coming up in their favor there for the Renegades. And you got a few streaks on their side to boot. With 45 seconds left, still a good bit of distance to go here on this payload. It's been pretty constant fighting going on right now. Not too much downtime. As soon as the respawns come in, there's been another fight breaking out on the backside.
And Vocal definitely subscribing to the Diggy Dog method of play there. He's staying strong, confident, being ballsy, making big plays all the while. 25 seconds on the clock now for this push to get through here. It's very crucial that the Renegades do not lose anyone as they start to backpedal towards the spot they will actually look to hold and fight, which is past that overpass, a little bit into their spawn doors almost. Deep dive from Chopper's good for 1. It might be good for 2.
Barrett keeping himself alive, getting some healing from the Saris, getting some shielding as well. So for the moment, actually, it's Moonchopper coming up short in this fight. The Immortal's there if he needs it. Overtime has been kicked off here. The Inara pushing that payload on its way. Now Hero and the Ruckus, the 2 hybrid damagey tanks going toe-to-toe right now for the moment. Either team's popping out too many ultimates, but here comes the Hexafire, and it finds some damage, but no kills just yet. Moonchopper actually ends up dropping Bonker on the backside. Alex cleans up Vocal on the backside of the Ruckus ultimate. A nice stun, but there's no follow-up damage from it just yet. Hero manages to keep himself alive for a moment, but actually ends up dropping, and Bittner has extended this fight so long for him. He's just standing here pouring out damage, and he hasn't been addressed yet. Finally, Vocal cleans him up. Diggy Dog with 1 as well, and overtime still ticking away, but the Renegades have the respawns. I thought it went through for a second.
No.
And I was very confused, but Renegades find themselves a defense on the back end of some good team fighting.
Stepped off the payload for just a second. That was an extremely long overtime.
It was.
So that meter
essentially the moment you're off it,
yeah,
the meter goes down.
Very, very instantaneously. Triple there for Invocal. Being ballsy, confident, making them plays. That's what you got to do in this set. That's clearly the aggressive tone that has been set. Interesting note, Genos not picked or banned in this game, however, after being such a big factor in game number 1. Again, the meta for the PPL has been very, very healthy, a lot of variety, and has just really been determined set to set. What 2 teams are sitting across from each other is really what's going to determine the priority and things to get picked. No,
and that makes you excited as well. I mean, the first couple weeks we saw, pretty much across the board, it was like Khan, Makoa, and Nara, some of those 4, like the tried and true, Grover, Torvald, Khan, Makoa, right? Those 4 tried and true bands, and now that's some other strong champions are coming out. We've seen a little bit more variety in these picks, so it's certainly a good time to be a fan. Speaking of Khan, the Overpower is going to drop Diggy Dog, and Nara is going to try to get them walled off. The Seismic Crash and the Convergence all coming out here for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but there's no kills coming on the back end of it. The Spike comes out but misses. Maybe just a little bit of a positional advantage here, and Vocal with the grenade finds his second of this fight, and now Shadow's going to put on the aggression towards the Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Renegades are the ones who win this team fight and find themselves on the point.
What a difference a round makes.
Yeah,
Victor with all these items, he's going through the barrack shield quicker. His grenades are getting to the backline. His grenades are landing, finding damage, and he's still sitting. Yeah, he's going the Red Ranger style. Has his barrage available as well. Ruckus is going to be less effective. This is such a shield-heavy composition from the NIP.
Right.
That he's going right through it.
Vocal on the Victor, about as consistent damage as you can get. A couple ultimates starting to get popped, the Hexafire as well as the Dread Serpent, so a little bit of ultimates answering back and forth there, but Shadow, for the meantime, is the only one with the kill. Hero with the help of the Barrage, finds a kill for himself, and there's so many stuns coming out, and Vocal with 1 finally getting in this fight. Moonchopper as well, and Vocal with 2. And in the meantime, Renegades capture the point, and they're on the front foot for the first time here on Ice Mines.
Viral is shaping this fight with these stuns.
Yeah.
He hits the stun on Alex that allows for that barrage to just connect onto a Cassie twice for no reason. He hits another stun on a Ruckus, I believe, that just allows free fire for Invocal. This is a team effort. The Renegades have shown up to play.
They have, and the team fights have started to tip in their favor after the first one. The Dome Shield's going to come out, a little bit of a defensive play there. Moonchopper just a little bit too deep. He's going to get cleaned up, and Renegades are going to elect to try to get on the back foot here and try to reset this fight. Khan, Hero trying to absorb the damage. He's not going to be able to. Only a couple members up now for the Renegades on the back foot, but that's fine. They had a big team fight win, didn't lose too many members. They'll be able to spend up some of those credits, regroup here. A minute and a half left. But you got to be careful. If you get pushed too far in your base, you essentially have to win a team fight to get out of your base, another one to get onto the payload, and then another one to get it pushed in if this full court press lasts too long.
Seismic Crash coming out somewhere on the map. A couple people stunned out, slowing it down, and Bonker's just going to transition his aggression onto the Invoco, who thought he had room to move up. The backboard goes up, quick little down, though, as the Guillotine finds Tenor on the front. And that looks like it's going to about do it.
And it does. A minute left. The rest of the Renegades champions soon to fall here. Potentially getting himself out as Shadow on this Zen. He is going to be able to do that, at least for the moment, get himself some of that passive healing. Ninjas in Pyjamas, though, okay not to chase him too far down. And that was just kind of a case of the Renegades getting pinched, essentially. They were really bunched up. You had some offensive pressure coming from one end, and then on the opposite end of the hallway, they had some pressure as well. Able to make it out, though, is Shadow, and Bittner in a great spot here to find some damage on the Ruckus. The Hexafire is available, chooses not to use it just yet. 30 seconds left, maybe feeling confident that they'll win this round without it. Getting chunked down a little bit, though. Has to be careful. One drop could make the difference, but now we see what I was talking about. You have 15 seconds left, so you have to win a team fight to even get to your payload. Ninjas in Pyjamas have put themselves in a great spot to take their second point.
Chopper gets isolated and taken down here. 9 seconds. The towel probably already thrown in, though, for the Renegades. They're not really near the payload, but they get that pick on Alex. They might have something to say here. Shadow is just going to be forced to billow towards the payload to keep it started.
Overtime on the back end. Going to be ticking away here. Only Shadow in the zone. They're going to elect to just let that one go. Tied up 2-2 here on Ice Mines. Both teams with a point capture. Both teams with a defensive stand as well, and a much better showing here for the Renegades as opposed to game number 1. They're really fighting as a team, and Vocal had a lot of damage on the Leon in game 1, but really making his presence felt in a different way here. That was the grenade. That was the 3-point. That was from downtown, the half-court shot, finding himself a double kill. Then the Barrage setting this fight up pretty well for his team as well. He drops Alex, as well as finding chunk damage on the Saris. So, and Vocal finding the damage that he needs. A double kill to boot. And they need more of the same on the side of Renegades. More of the same. Good team fighting. They have some ultimates to play with, but they do on the side of Nip as well. It's going to be a pretty hotly contested point number 3. Well, 5.
He's got a lot of people making space for him, but he's doing big things with it. Shadow's slash line is good, not, amazing right now. He's got Diggy Dog playing pretty aggressive, but he's just getting through these shields so fast. Dome shield spent as well. Diggy Dog wants the Renegades high ground. They do not want to let Invocal free fire.
Watch out. Here comes the pinch, though, that we had just seen. Diggy Dog holding down the backside. Here's the barrage, though, and it finds some damage. Doesn't find a kill. He ends up finding one. But so much pressure from both sides, and Ninjas in Pyjamas with a 4-1 sweep there. Shadow's going to be the last to fall.
Staggered, too.
Damba's up, has his ultimate, but with 81%, there's just not enough time, and the zone is too deep. So Ninjas in Pyjamas finding their positioning. I think Diggy Dog was the only one actually on the backside of Renegades there, but he was able to put enough pressure there.
Yeah, aggro tank Barrett,
right? He essentially forced Renegades into the rest of their lineup, and it worked perfectly there for Nip.
See, that's some Barrett gameplay that I do not mind, right? He's not sitting on his laurels, playing around his turrets or anything. He's just getting in there, being ballsy, dropping a big old dome shield as well. Big respect to Tenor there as well. Right. Even though he dies to the barrage, Tenor stuck to his guns there.
He did.
Got 2 kills, just dumped as much damage as humanly possible out to that very nice pinch that Diggy Dog set up. But that's trusting your teammates. I mean, that is everyone committing their lives, if they have to the plan that was set in place. NIP showing a lot of team resolve there.
Definitely, and it's interesting in that both teams have shown excellent team fighting in this game, and it really is just honestly down to like positioning. Like where the team fight breaks out is seemingly decided who is going to win because both teams are playing it so well. At the moment, though, if you want to look at ultimate utility, only the Cassie ultimate is close to being available. Renegades have a few as well. And now we're kind of seeing the reverse of last time. Only a minute left. Here comes the barrage, looking for some damage. Does find a little bit, not any kills at least at the moment, but a nice grenade is going to chunk down a few. Can he finish off the Sarah? She's going to walk herself away, but he cleans up Cassie. Bonkar, though, getting aggressive, drops in Vocal. So it's a 1-for-1. Both damage dealers down on both sides. But now Nip doesn't have a tried and true damage dealer. They have the Ruckus who can pour some out. Bonkar doing his best to keep them in this fight. But in the meantime, Diggy Dog and Bird find a couple kills on their side, and the Renegades are starting to get sweeped here.
Here's what happens. Diggy Dog does an insane job absorbing that barrage. Rocket boots down into the actual physical mines there that is low ground. Bonker walls him off for safety. Bonker takes control of the high ground. Bonker and Bird dance back and forth, stay alive long enough for Diggy Dog to get out of combat, like come back in actually fresh and healthy and have another impact in that fight. They're playing at a very, very high level, and they are helping each other. It is a very, very team effort right now for NIP.
Absolutely, and the Renegades found who they would have wanted. They dropped the Cassie to start things off. Oh, keeps himself on, though, for Nip, but Nip has 5 ultimates to play with. Alex drops again right off the bat. 8 seconds left, and Vocal needs to keep himself alive, but he's unable to do so just yet. Here comes a seismic crash, but Dome shielded off.
Dude.
Oh, wait, no, he's not. He's on the opposite team anyway. Khan does get caught into it. The overpower's ready, but Bittner is not going to let him use it. The spike comes out. Shadow does drop one. Bittner drops on the backside of finding himself a kill, and now Shadow's going to be the one trying to drive this fight home. Inara and Barrick both alive here, but yeah, nobody's getting out of the healer. Shadow's dropping so low here, and there's only a few up for both teams, but the respawns are going to start to come out here for the Renegades, and they're dropping left and right, and finally they stall out this fight long enough that the Renegades are able to take it 3-3 now. Wow, that was a long one. The Renegades looked like they were on the back foot that entire time. And then the longer it went out, they had some respawns come back through, and they were able to flip it on its head and claim their 3rd point.
These supports are doing a really good job. These are very drawn-out team fights. A lot of healings coming through. The tank players are absorbing a lot of stuff as well. Tenor hard commits to the pinch that Diggy worked so hard for. And again, it feels like NIP have like a playbook. You know what I mean? Like they call, you know, Tacoma Blue 46, and like everyone knows what that means. Omaha, and they like know what that means, and it's like it's a very like this into that here. It's like it's not instinct. It just feels too premeditated to feel like instinct plays. It's very like drawn up and executed from NIP.
Renegades are going to get themselves the flank coming in, nearly dropping a Shadow. The Dread Serpent's going to find a few and find a couple on the side of Ninjas in Pajamas, but they aren't going down just yet. Instead, it's Bittner and Bonkar each finding one right now. Bittner pouring out damage from up top. The Spite gets Shadow up high here, but he's going to drop as well. That's 3 now for Nip, but they're only losing 1. Bittner trying to keep himself alive. He does just that. It's down to Hero.
Damn.
He falls as well, and Ninjas in Pajamas with a calculated flank are on the front foot here and potentially poised to take it 4-3.
They are playing so aggressive here. It feels like that was the perfect situation for a Dread Serpent to just counter all that aggression, but NIP are just gas pedaling the Renegades down. Seismic Crash goes deep to try and stun more people coming in, and Shadow should be able to get the touch here.
He is, and he's going to go. Where does he turn his attention, though, is the question. And Knight's Convergence gets him off the point. Overtime starting to tick away, and Vocal finds one. Alex does the same as well. Now it's down to the rest of the members of Ninjas in Pajamas to do some damage. Alex is so low, but they're unable to clean him up. Keeps him off to the side here. Now he's facing off against Moonchopper on the Fernando. And this could go either way. You have Khan, you have Barrick, you have Inara all fighting over the point right now. Whoever falls first. But there goes the healer for the Renegades. Bittner coming up huge with 2. And with the lack of healing on the side of Renegades, you imagine this one's done for. Ninjas in Pajamas, a highly contested Ice Mines, but they come out on top.
Diggy gets a pretty quick Dome Shield charged up that round too. Used it right at the end of the payload offense prior, so the fact that it does get in about the span of a team fight. Didn't have it for the first one, had it for the tail end of the second. I mean, again, Renegades are playing extremely well at the moment, but NIP just feel like very, very coordinated on a level that we have not seen yet.
They've only played 1 game, but they're coming out here in game number 2 very, very quickly, taking a quick 2-0 lead here over the Renegades. Let's send it back to the desk to break that one down.
Well, that one to me, there's so much, I think, that was going on kind of immediately on the screen.
Yes.
There's a lot of those going on behind the screens that you could see as well, which, to me, that was a fight of the supports. That was what can Viral do, what can Bird do, and which one of them wins that war of attrition.
Yeah, and Bird definitely made some plays. You're like, wow, you know, you should not have stayed alive after that. And that's the benefit of Sarah. She has that range. She peek and heal. You know, Viral has to be constantly on his target to keep that healing going, even though there's a little bit of the, you know, healing up from the gourd. He's got to just be a lot more active than Saris, who can run away for about 3 seconds while she's healing you and not even think another moment. One of the things I love about the way Renegades did that is they did take the right approach to not get caught on Ice Mines. They took the Zen, he got back, he got the overtime touch. I thought they overcommitted, to be honest, on NIP. But then NIP, instead of realizing that, you know, oh wow, we're in trouble, they smartly backed away. They kept Alex alive, and he was the big damage threat for people like Moonchopper. And they just slowly but surely went and got back in to a position to close out the game. It was a great last point.
Yeah. And that last fight that we actually just saw there from Bonkar's perspective was one we originally saw from Pitner's perspective on the Ruckus. And the thing that caught my eye about it was that entire last fight, there's the target switching, the target callouts from NIP was so important for them. And they had the relapse when Renegades came back in, but at that point they were already in control, but they are able to take Ice Mines with that because of their stellar performance. 4-3, but puts them up 2-0 in the set. And just a heads up, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break here as we get Game 3 set up, so we'll be right back with Game number 3. Non-stop shop. The teams are ready. Renegades NIP Game 3 coming right back now. Again, a nice 4-3 there on Ice Mines, where a couple of things came through. Renegades definitely clapped back a lot more, and they had a lot more answers for NIP, but it wasn't really enough to lock them down the victory at the end of the day. That last point really fell out of their hand.
Unfortunate, but look at, I mean, smiles, jokes. I mean, I think Renegades feel like they definitely played a game there. Bright Marsh didn't feel like a game at all.
No.
This game felt like a good adjustment from Renegades. They got going. It's reminding me a little bit of the set we just watched. I'm not going to lie. But these maps have been crazy. I mean, the fact that we're Bright Marsh, Ice Mines, Fish Market, I mean, I guess that's what you get when you ban Serpent Beach? I don't know. All the other ones that you're going to play.
It's like, well, you know, we can't go to Frog Isle. We can't go to...
Well, they'll be coming up soon. I mean, at the end of the day, if this goes in a few maps, they will be coming up. But it's just been an odd start for sure. The reason Renegades picked that, though, is because they have basically won every game on Ice Mines thus far in the PPL, I believe. They're very good at that map, and that's kind of their go-to starting map to get some momentum back in the set. Would have wished it went their way, I'm sure, but a 3-3, nothing to snuff at their first here. And I would expect them to go for... Actually, I'm really curious what they're going to prioritize here, because the Ash hasn't been a guarantee for them anymore.
Yeah. It's definitely been very
especially
hit or
with
miss.
Moonchopper, right?
And you can see, I feel like, I mean, with the front line, this is something, again, kind of different from the last set. Torvald and Makoa was almost always banned. Khan was he was banned every single set. Cassie is going to be another target, I believe, going towards Renegades, specifically in Vocal, but really for Shadow as well. Either of those players, I think, have a beautiful Cassie. And I'm curious, is this going to become the game about snipers that we're used to on Fish Market? I feel like in Vocal we'll bring one out. But does NIP want to answer back? Are they going to put Alex onto something like that?
That's a good question. I'm not quite sure. I think Renegades here have a lot of questions to answer. Fish Market can be a map that's played a lot around mobility, and if you're seeing a triple DPS, I could see a triple tank. You could easily see a triple DPS come through. You know, Genos is huge right now. If you take a Genos and maybe a Cassie here, no, sorry, not a Cassie, but a Leon, you have a lot of flexibility. You're going to grab the Ash, who could still rotate really nicely. And Renegades are a little bit more pigeonholed into what they want to do with the Inara.
And not only that, but again, we've been looking at, I want to say the big question marks, which have been, is Diggy Dog on this flex frontline going to be able to perform? Today, the answer's been yes. The last time they played, the answer was yes. The answer for him so far this split is going to be yes. But Moonchopper, there's still some question marks.
Still some questions.
A lot of prioritization, like you had mentioned, on the Ash for him. Now he's going to be flexing around more than likely onto this Ruckus. Do you think this is a good switch up for him?
Way better, because it also takes it away from Bittner. And Bittner is a big Ruckus player as far as being able to flex onto that and do exactly what he wants to do, which is hit scam you, I guess, because he's so good at hit scam.
Scamaz.
He scams you away from your life, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's really just what he wants to do. Ruckus was, I think, actually the turning point champion for that matchup. I think if Ruckus was killed earlier, they would have been able to turn a lot of that damage around. Shaolin and Barrack here, so at least guaranteeing that the double front line is coming out. You don't know if they're going to try something a little weird with another front line, but I would assume they're saving that for a potential sniper if they feel comfortable.
And I mean, being able to kind of have that flexibility, not only do you get Shaolin, so it's like, well, maybe we don't want to go a Kinessa or a Strix here.
Yeah.
We still have Shaolin to have a very similar presence.
Yep.
Or maybe they want to pull it out. Maybe we'll see. I think it depends heavily on Renegades. Although with Leon there, I don't typically think Leon Kinessa or Leon Strix on a
No, it's a bit of an odd one.
What blaster fits here?
I think
is this a good map for
sure,
Eevee?
100%. But they're not going to go for it, and they're going to go for the Vict. Man,
champions
I just
are made
don't,
by the paths they choose.
I'm happy to be
not the powers they've
have my mind
embraced
changed. I just don't think Victor brings enough of the other stuff. He brings the damage, but there's so much of these other things that the Zens, the Eevees, the VKs bring that help a fight become a lot easier. You know, if this team doesn't put Victor into a position, and what you're really looking at is Ruckus, Leon, and Inara. You know, and Inara is going to be on the point. If Ruckus and Leon don't put Victor into a position to really, I think, free fire, it could be tough. NIP have a really good draft for me.
And I just have to echo the thoughts that Nick was giving earlier when he was looking at a Shaolin with a Genos behind him. That's 1450 with an explosive an explosive arrow coming down. An explosive arrow planted combo will absolutely two-tap a Victor if given the chance. Honestly, might be able to deal with this Ruckus pretty well if he gets that Wrecker online soon early.
Inara is really susceptible on this map too. I mean, Kinetic Burst from Ashe. You have your one cooldown with Mother's Grace, but if you're trying to defend near with the water at all, you're just going to get knocked into the hazard zone. This is going to be a tough one. NIP look good for me.
Well, NIP have been looking good all set. Still up 2 games. Renegades looking to try and fight back. This is their map choice, Fish Market. We don't get to come here often, so hopefully you enjoy the scene, and hopefully you enjoy the breeze, Dave and Nick, as you get to go down into the map.
Thank you, guys. And a day of firsts continues that way. Fish Market finding its way in for the first time today. Some interesting map bans allow us to play on such scenic locations as Fish Market. Both teams pretty solid. I know they like the NIP lineup. I like the NIP lineup as well. Lots to look at here for both sides. Nick, how you feeling about either team here?
Well, the only real tidbit of info on Fish Market I can have is so old that I don't know if it's still relevant, but the Renegades historically have done well on Fish Market. I never forget the time they upset G2, who was then the top team in NA on this map with a relatively new roster. Not the exact same roster they're playing with now, but I think the core knowledge of how to do Fish Market, do it well. It's never been a very standard thing for them. They were playing Strix on this map when nobody else really played. They're playing double hit scan now, which isn't exactly standard either. I'm less concerned with the draft and more of like the way NIP is playing. They're playing just however they need to for the situation. If there's a Victor free firing too much, all of them get up in his business together.
Bittner with 3, almost 4. Starts off this game in a big way, and now this is the downside to picking and then losing on Fish Market, is you have the long walk back. It's so much easier to zone out on a map like this, given that you're essentially fighting uphill. You know, one big team fight loss like that often spells defeat, and in this case it does. 1-0 here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It was really just on the back end of some calculated aggression. Bittner found himself 3 kills on the Shaolin. Tons of damage coming out from the Ashe as well. But now Renegades need to find themselves a defense.
He's so aggressive today. And with characters that don't normally do it, like, that was the most aggressive Barrack I think I've ever seen in my life from Diggy Dog. He's just like W-king at people, dropping his dome shield, saying, "This is where it's happening. Hope you're ready, idiots." And they weren't.
They were not ready. Diggy Dog being ballsy, making big plays here. Bittner trying to clean up his second.
Giving him toes,
nice shot. Catches catches Moonchopper, excuse me, on the backside of that one. So they're getting delayed out here a little bit. The barrage is going to come out and try to find some damage. He's not able to do so. Instead, it's actually getting turned around onto Invocal right now. In the full court press is actually taking place back in the locker room now, as Alex has them fresh out of spawn behind the ring. Shadow picks up 1 here to buy themselves some space, and Vocal as well. Alex is going to be the next to fall. So on the back end of 2 Vocal kills, Renegades find themselves a defense. A minute left here, but very close to going in as the payload.
So far, it's playing out kind of bright marshy, right? Like, NIP come up here with about a minute 15, minute 30 left on the clock. They punch Renegades hard enough, far back enough, to where Renegades feel the need to pop defensive ultimates to stay alive in the round, and then NIP, if history tells us anything, they will come up over this hill with an ultimate advantage, and they will win the fight and push it in.
The
Sup,
Hexifier is
Wait,
around,
who stunned
but they're
him?
not going to need it.
Where did that come from?
Cleans up Invocal. Who would that have been? I guess from...
Who can stun him that far? I don't know. I'm
actually don't know.
Confused.
I don't see a lot of ultimates down either. So either he was stunned or he was just standing there. Either way, he's dead. And now Ninjas in Pyjamas are on the front foot here. So many low targets. They're desperate. They're coming out of their base to try to find some kills. Fighting in that Damba heal. The Dome Shield is going to keep NIP alive right now. Potentially a little overkill. If anything, if nothing else, it confirms them their second point here. It goes in 2-0. Bittner with a huge Shaolin here in game number 2.
So it's all about the pressure today, man. It's like whoever is like gets this Leon or Shaolin or Victor or whatever it is, just a free fire,
Look how low these targets are. It's like walking down on Christmas morning. You got a bunch of one-hit targets, and you know you have to hit your shots. But the rest of the Ninjas in Pyjamas lineup, perfectly calculated aggression, setting that up on a silver platter, and Bittner took it and performed exactly the way you would hope him to. Vocal and Shadow finding themselves a few kills, and really Moonchopper on the ruckus. You know, technically has a positive KDA right now, but maybe not finding the impact he was hoping for here. Bird 009, so undying thus far on the Genos. Bittner and Diggy Dog with a few of their own. Here come Through Time and Space, not going to find the damage.
I think Hero's got knocked off the map.
Yeah, I think he must have. Diggy Dog with another two-piece here, looking for this third onto Invocal. Victor's going to go down shortly. And here comes the full court press again. Up and over the hill they go. Once these two are down, they're not going to have a lot of space to play with. Alex cleans up Viral, looking for another one here, and he finds it with the help of Bittner onto Moonchopper. Now
It's just,
Renegades are back in
that
their base
little
again.
stuff right there. It's like Diggy instinctively watches that Damba for a second, and then he says, the better play is to separate this ruckus. I'm going to worry about the ruckus. I'm not even going to look at that Maldamba again because I know my teammates have got him. That type of like trust and just zero hesitation adjustment is incredibly valuable stuff. And the thing that surprises me about the way Renegades drafted this game is because the problem for NIP on Ice Mines was how much free firing Invocal was getting the chance to do.
Yeah.
The adjustments made late in the game showed that NIP are not afraid to just get dummy aggressive into that backline. And the fact that they picked two backliners that are susceptible to that in this game is a little bit strange to me, because if it didn't work with two front lines and a Xin also being like a half a front line in terms of being aggressive and making space for Invocal, I don't know how they thought it was going to work with like literally less pressure on the front line than they had last game.
Well, they have the ultimate pressure right now. The Dread Serpent finds one onto Bittner, so that's a huge loss here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They still have a minute and a half left, though. So if Renegades spend too much here, they spend the Enlightenment, they spend the Dread Serpent, they do clean up some kills here. They are on the front foot in this fight, but they only have the Seismic Crash. They only have the Victor Ultimate to round things out here. Ninjas in Pyjamas are in the high 80s and 90s now. They're going to have a full suite of ultimates coming into this final fight if they choose to use it. Renegades only playing with a couple here. A minute left. Call it about 75% of the way there. Holding firm so far are Renegades, but Ninjas in Pyjamas have plenty of time.
Here comes a Seismic Crash. Everyone kind of over the crest of the hill, though. No one can really follow up on that from the Renegades, and now it's NIP's turn to flip and use ultimates.
And they're doing so right off the bat. Bird carrying on the Genos kills, finding himself two. Diggy drops Moonchopper as well. Diggy now with two. That's a couple of doubles on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas. Here comes the full locker room press now from Diggy Dog.
They chased him into the tunnel.
They don't need it. They went back
out of the arena.
That's right. They chased him out of the arena. Ninjas in Pyjamas with a calculated Game 3 win.
Still stuff to talk about. Still things to discuss.
We suck.
How
you
to
guys
improve.
played horrible.
I mean, Tanner, for whatever reason, about 1,440 degrees of spin during that play. He was just like, I don't know if it was for memes or just like because he was looking for new targets to kill at that point. But NIP are locked in. 1 game to go would net them the sweep here. Cold as ice, win or loss. That's Bird, though. He's going to keep his boys on the straight and narrow until they're able to leave this set with a W in the column.
Snagging Game 3 is Ninjas in Pyjamas. Let's send it back to Gore and Evan on the desk to tell us how it happened.
Well, I feel personally like that set was kind of determined, or that game, that map was set the pace was very early, where the first thing that happens is Viral dies, and that kind of felt like it was just the beginning of the end.
I actually think that this set is best described hinging on 2 key points, and they're inseparable, and they also go together, so you could really add them as one. NIP is playing much better, but the details of how they're playing better is also really showing up in the draft. They have a clear idea with what they want to do here. This is how we've kind of decided the fish market meta is, right? At least what we've seen and what's proven to work. Rotation, flexibility, triple DPS potential, or front lines that can be aggro. We've seen that work, and it continue to work. I talked about what happens with an R on Fish Market. A shoulder bash just knocks her off. Hero dies to an ability that should not kill you, but they first pick it. To me, what's so strange is that despite the fact that NIP are winning so hard in the draft, despite the fact that they're playing so well, Renegades are now making mistakes because that draft didn't have the cohesion that I think any of us were looking at and saying, oh, I trust this is going to do well. The Victor showing up out of nowhere 2 games in a row from Invocal. I'd love to have seen him on a Kinessa there. Even if you're going to go Leon Kinessa, or do something like that, or put Shadow on a BK if you want to do that, and put Invocal on Leon. I'm not quite sure why the EV, the BK, the blasters aren't coming up. But I think that's a huge strength of Renegades they're not playing to.
Yeah, and honestly, I got to write one real Renegades note during all of that, and I just wrote down Invocal Claps back part 2, because there was a part on Ice Mines and there was a part here where he's the one who gets a couple kills and making the flashy play that kind of sort of finds the defense. I think on Ice Mines it actually did find the defense. Here it just kind of delayed the push slightly, and I believe, you know, Bittner, I'm going to give him a lot of credit on the Shaolin. I almost said on the Shadow, and that doesn't make any sense. On the Shaolin.
The Shadow of the Shaolin.
8-1-3 after round 1, 10-3-9 at the very end of the game. So not picking up as many kills, a lot more assists as Diggy Dog went 7-3-11. But like the 2 of them in tandem was just so push and pull, so keep you locked inside your base, so what are you going to do against us? We're just going to knock you back.
Yeah, and they took away the Ruckus, and it's clear that NIP is way deeper than that. You can't just take away Ruckus and then they don't know what to play. They are clearly prepped. They are clearly ready, and Alex is looking good again. I mean, on that Cassie did well, then on to the Zen did well. I mean, the champion pool that you need to succeed in this meta right now, Alex is showing that he's got it, especially what he needs for his team. These guys, though, Renegades, still talking, still chatting, trying to figure things out. It could be in the ban phase where they want to make some adjustments. We saw, you know, the Cassie and Leon straight banned in the Virtus Pro Envy set, and that opened up the door for some momentum to swing because it forced Brock onto Shaolin a lot, and it gave a little bit of a breather, you know, to Envy's dominant draft that they usually are so good at.
Yeah. I mean, 0-3 right now. Renegades, if they're looking for that 4-3 scoreline, they've got 4 long games ahead of them to be able to push through.
And that's what they said it would be, right? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my mindset. Obviously, you have to be confident when you're coming into this kind of set, and that I think is probably the only place you can take. Where right now you're like, we don't know where we are as a team. It feels almost as though they haven't truly found their identity yet.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at it, you're like, how are we going to win? It's like, well, the only way we feel we can win is if it goes long.
Right. I mean, I feel like this is definitely, I mean, I think they knew, especially with coming off with 2 days of not playing.
True.
The NIP was going to be much more prepared to start out the set, which is why they're probably hoping for a longer set. NIP grabbing the Ruckus here. Khan, that's a good fit for Hero. There's no problem there. Viral can play anything. You don't really need to draft around your support unless you feel like you just have to have it. I mean, Dombo would be a good pick here, but I think Genos is really where I would like to see Renegades go. They've already got the Khan. That's burst killing as well. Him with the Genos, him with Bomb King, and Genos with Bomb King and Khan now.
To protect the
that's great, but then they go for the
wild.
Inara. Clearly in the wheelhouse. And then this is most likely then going to be a Moonchopper Con.
And the problem in my eyes is that that leaves open a little bit. Yes, you have the Drogos ban, you have the Zen ban, so you're not going to have as many of, I want to say, the big Jaguar Falls threats other than Bomb King. But a Genos Cassie combo is still deadly. A Genos Cassie anything is going to be great, and they are going to hover them, and this time going for the Pip. And the thing about this that catches my eye, and you know, you can tell me because I think you know the numbers better. Evil Mojo, and then a Genos Cassie shot, or just rockets from a Ruckus. It's usually going to clean up a couple of these chickens pretty quickly.
And yeah, you're right. It's definitely going to do so. My other thing is that I think Renegades are trying to figure out what an IP are going for. But because you gave up Genos, you don't know. I mean, the only thing you can hope for is that there's no way that they go solo tank Ruckus, right? And they triple DPS you know, with a Catalyst Pip. You're just hoping no way that happens. So they're not. It is the Barrack. It's a strong lineup from NIP, but because of the Tyra Grover from Renegades, a lot beefier, a lot of sustain. They've got a strong lineup for Jaguar Falls. It's just going to be about if NIP can be deadly enough, fast enough.
Tyra and Bomb King are incredibly good on here, and especially a hunting party specific Tyra. Trying to match maybe the damage amp that's going to be coming out of Genos. Do you have one team? I mean, obviously NIP right now are playing a little better, but do you think this is a good clapback for Renegades?
If there was a game I think Renegades are going to win, this is it. This is a great draft for Jaguar Falls. I just have an issue, you know, with Bittner on that pit, man. He's been looking so good. The Ruckus has worked so well for NIP. Barrack is on the rise, and as we've seen, and Alex seems to be hitting his shots. So You got to give it to Invocal here. He's got to have to make some big plays. Shadow's going to have to be huge on the BK.
This is do or die for Renegades. Down 3-0. NIP just need this last map to be able to get it. They throw up the peace sign, but they have to be able to pull it all together, whereas NIP, they're going to be feeling confident.
Ha! I never saw that one. That was good.
Definitely going to be sticking with his team, but we're going to Jaguar Falls. Nick and Dave, take us through what could be the last game of the set.
Very metaphorical for how they play. Bird just says, all right, everyone else gets to go play Paladins, and I sit on the objective.
That was so funny. The look of disgust over either shoulder,
back to the point
again. And then he just walks away. When they were filming those, I actually don't know it. They filmed them all individually, right? And then laid them.
Yeah, they're all like overlaid.
That just makes the guys in the front who are doing something with the guys behind them just so much better, because he perfectly looked.
He's got to have a real game sense about his team.
Right, he has a game. He knows exactly where they're going to be standing after production has their way with those videos. But game number 4 it is. Renegades trying to fend off the 4-0 here, but Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Where's that Grover?
Starting off very well. Snagged the first blood with the pip. The Grover is dead, if you're wondering
Thanks
where he was.
for clearing that up.
Diggy Dog with a couple for himself as well. Bittner, so that's 2 for Diggy, 2 for Bittner. Oh, he's dancing.
Oh, no.
He knows the Inara's going down. Bonkar's the one who ends up cleaning that one up with 72%. You imagine Nip are off to a 1-0 start here.
Hot start indeed. Very good lineup. I agree. On paper, the Renegades have a very good Jaguar Falls lineup. But in practice, it's very hard to vote against the way NIP is currently playing in this set. My goodness gracious.
None of them being stopped right now. We haven't seen a single blue kill come out just yet for the Renegades. Bittner just being way too much on this pip. Here comes the Evil Mojo deep into the back line. Does he have the damage for it? Not just yet. Finally, Hero does get dropped. He turns his focus back to Moonchopper. And now that's 2 down now on the side of Renegades. 3 with the good shots from Bittner there.
They're all smiling.
And only a couple to come out of their base. Moods are high.
Even when it doesn't work
is
out,
high.
It works out. You know what I mean? Like, that did not go according to plan, I don't think, with that Evil Mojo. I think he was planning on hitting a couple people there and not getting pinched, but even when it doesn't work out, it feels like it is. And that's a scary place to be against NIP.
I mean, sometimes the ball is just rolling your way, and today, a lot of practice, a lot of good talent to get here, and the ball as well being in their favor. Ninjas in Pyjamas finding themselves up right now. Some answer back here. Shadow with some damage. Moonchopper trying to drop 1, but he's unable to. Shadow make it 2 for him. The Bomb King, this is who you need to come alive in these fights, and Vocal as well pairing up, and that's 4 down now for Ninjas in Pyjamas. So they stopped the bleeding a little bit. They got a minute left here to defend. Hero and Vocal, Shadow, all of them finding some damage, finding some kills here for themselves. They find their first kills of the game. Shadow with 2 and Vocal 2 as well. Hero with 1. So evening out those slash lines just a little bit. But they're going to have to do it a couple more times if they want to find the defense.
Pip's still been a pretty big factor for NIP today. Incredible stuff there. It's looking like one of those historic fights, though. Like the mid-round defensive ults from Renegades and then just the full take back from NIP. Again, history will tell us that they are going to put this one through.
A lot of crossfire damage going into the dome shield there. Does find some damage on the backside, though, to help his team clean up a few of those kills. This Bomb King starting to hit those shots a little bit. You always have to be careful when Shadow starts playing his game. That's not something that's easy to deal with whatsoever. 15 seconds left here. So the Ninjas in Pyjamas need to get themselves in. They need to not lose a lot of members of their team to get this one pushed through. The early fight starting out, Inara's keeping Diggy Dog in the fight here. Here comes the King Bomb, but he's kiting himself away. He chooses not to go there. Doesn't matter. Okay. They find themselves the defense.
I mean, good awareness.
Spending a couple ultimates there.
That's not like, even if you hit that, the tenor was at like literally
right. He would have died
1
anyway.
HP.
Right.
That was a good adjustment there. It didn't end up being necessary, but that was still the right move from Shadow. Forces tenor away. He would have killed Bird there. All good stuff from them. The Renegades hold. So history has been broken here. The cycle is going to be a little bit different this time. NIP do not get that one through. 1-1 is the score line. This is game 4. It's shaping up to be a pretty quick day here if NIP can get this one. It's a minimum of 2 more rounds, though, depending on how things start to go here for NIP. But so far, so good on the point fights from them.
4 of the top the top 4 damage, all red, coming up now for Ninjas in Pyjamas. A little bit low on the scale as the Bomb King here. It's hard to do a lot of damage when there's so much pressure coming in on you. That's actually not a bad through time and space. Finds some damage, doesn't find any kills just yet. Now here go, it's nice, it's on to 3, and here come the rest of the kills. Bird with 2, Bittner with 2, make it a clean 5 here. Wow, that is all you can hope for. A clean Evil Mojo, Bird with a couple, Bittner with 3. And what an answer here from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
It's part of why, you know, this Evil Mojo against this type of comp from the Renegades. And it's only getting better once that patch goes live with the pip change.
And it's already a third of the way back.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Ton of damage. He's the problem. Get him out of my face.
Yeah, you can't beat him. Send him off the map. Don't want to deal with it. Here comes the Commander's Grab as well. So answering back with some kills now, actually, are Renegades. 99% though, overtime ticking away. Alex on the back side of this Renegades lineup here. It's going to be the Grover trying to fight it, but they did forget about him. He's pouring out damage, not able to find the kill just yet. Keeps himself alive. Now Shadow's getting aggressive and cleans up the kill. A nice double there from him. For the moment, Renegades is stalled out.
Nice wall there. It's going to be good. 2 more for Invocal. Alex is not able to confirm any of those kills. Viral stays alive, gets a clutch heal on a Shadow as well to make sure that he wins that little 1v1 with Alex. And just like that, the Renegades are back in a King Bomb, Whirlwind, Crossfire, all ready to go. NIP just with a Dome Shield.
Dome Shield does come out right here. Overtime starting to tick away, but here's the King Bomb. Helps him find Bonker, and the Whirlwind's going to top them off. So just a little bit of defensive ultimates, trying to keep themselves alive, and it's going to be good for a point capture. So actually, Renegades finding themselves in the lead here. Evil Mojo's available if he wants it, but with the low health bars, you imagine he'll hold on to it until his teammates come back. Shadow streaking now, as well as the Grover. Oh, that's a nice shot there, getting Bittner kind of low, but they are going to find themselves some kills and stall out this push with about 2 minutes left.
A lot of damage pouring out of Tenor right now. He's hitting some not only long distance shots, but once he gets to mid-range, he's hitting some multi-target shots, punishing the clumping so heavily from the Renegades here. They're starting to W key in. They feel good about this fight. A couple people in a couple different... Nobody get Commandos grab off. That's all you need. Butterstick wall isn't going to do too much. Yeah.
Don't feed the con.
That's right.
They do just that. Alex with a couple. Slowing. Make that a, what is it? 2's a company, 3's a crowd. A crowd of kills here for Alex to stall things out. 1.5 minutes left.
I like it. I'm buying into that.
And this is not Ninjas in Pyjamas on offense. They're actually defending right now, so don't get confused here. Renegades are just pushed far back into
the
their
FCP,
space.
baby.
Here comes the behind-the-back bunker aggression that we've seen time and time again from this barrack today. Viral finds himself one, but now they've turned their sights on him. Is he going to be able to find the damage? Bittner on the pip is there as well, and they're actually winning a fight here in the Renegades base. Alex with 2 minutes left here, and they're getting cleaned up back and forth.
This is good practice for the offense they might have to go on next round.
Yeah.
So there's that. 50 seconds on the clock still. Plenty of time for the Renegades to make their way out of spawn.
They do have time, right.
But you got to give it to the Renegades. That was not a comeback mechanic fight. No. That was just a fair and square victory on their end.
Especially with a clean Evil Mojo triple kill. Bird with 2 as well. I mean, the fact that you can come back from that and then win the point fight, that's huge. And they found themselves some point. They needed that momentum. Going down on the opposite side would have been tough here. 20 seconds left. Kills going kind of back and forth. Alex and Hero both with a couple. 15 seconds left to get onto the payload, but it is a little bit further away. 10 seconds left, so they'll be able to get a touch.
It's rolled all the way back to start.
But it has not moved off of the start here. You figure you have to win a good, clean 2 or 3 team fights to push this one through.
This is going to be
one long team fight that never ends.
Overtime and a dream here for Hero. He has got to stay hand in hand with this payload the entire time. It's a good start here, 1 for 1 of the back line. Tenor looks like he's going to trade out again, 2 for 2 here, but this is all in favor of the defense as they make it a 3 for 2.
3 for 2 at the moment. Moonchopper, Hero, the last 2 to go down. And Bittner just can't really be stopped here on this pip right now. I mean, you see the fight was actually going in favor of the Renegades. And then out of nowhere, a double kill from Bittner cleans up the back end of that fight. That really allowed Ninjas in Pyjamas to find some space. Alex as well on this Cassie, finding the damage, finding some offensive pressure as well.
I like that he checks his corner there as well.
Check your corners.
He's playing with the next kill in mind, and you can see that even in that very last kill. Like he shot the con, but rolled, and he was on con, but he's rolling towards Inara, turns back for one quick final killing bolt, and then he's already in position to follow up and start putting aggro onto the Inara. He has taken back top damage, 15 and 4 here. Great stuff from Alex, great stuff from Tenor, and everyone from NIP. But the Renegades, best draft I think they've had all set. They're holding on over the top.
Ooh,
Evil
nice.
Mojo's good for 2.
It is good for 2. Bittner and Alex combining to start off this 5th-point fight. Alex now with 2, finding a bunch of damage. Bittner dropping 1 as well. It's really the Alex and the Bittner show right now as far as kills go. Bird had a couple in the last round, but there's too much damage from the Cassie and the Pip to deal with. Through time and space, drops Chopper low. Good hits there, but actually it's Renegades who find themselves a couple kills here. Here comes a crossfire as well. Shadow doing his best to keep his team in at 93%. They need to get a touch on it. Grover's going to get climbed, or excuse me, grasped out of it. They're laughing and clapping their hands in the booth there. He knew he wasn't going to let him get a touch. Void grasp, keeping the Grover from getting a touch there.
Shout outs to Bird.
Yep.
Bird from the objective, through times and spaces, a con that he has no real idea where he is. You know what I mean? Like, that was a really good long distance laser beam, because Con can still move during overpower. It's only during the grab and the throw that he's actually immobilized there. So Bird gets that 2,400 damage out onto that frontliner, and they manage to very quickly trade out onto Moonchopper.
Payload actually moving off of the point a little bit this time. Minute and 45 seconds left here. Some intermittent damage getting put out. Both teams just trying to find a little bit of even footing. Renegades needing to find this defense in order to keep this series alive for themselves. Ninjas in Pyjamas with 3 wins already. Up 3-2 here on map number 4. Minute and a half left though. They've been able to stall it out up to this point. Some ultimates coming available for them, but Moontrapper dropping early to Alex is what you hate to see. Diggy Dog and Alex combining for a kill there as well, and now Bomb King is in his sights. Can he drop Shadow? That could be it if he does. He has the ultimate if he wants to use it. The Grumpy Bomb is going to get blocked off there by the Barrack Shield, so that's a good job. Not allowing any follow-up damage. Here come the respawns, though. This is what you have to watch for. Alex is getting very low here. If they clean him up, this could be a good defense.
He's whiffed his last like 16 shots, too. Dome Shield comes out. Evil Mojo to try and make this fight winnable for NIP.
And Barrack went so low, but the Evil Mojo came out and kept him alive, and there's the crossfire as well, but the damage isn't really where he wants it to be. Through time and space looking. Does not find his targets, but in the moment, Ninjas in Pyjamas are the ones who are on the front end of this fight. The Grumpy Bomb comes out. He's going to get around the corner. Bittner actually cleans up Shadow there. Here comes a Seismic Crash. That's good for a few stuns here, but there's no follow-up damage. Bittner is so low, but they don't clean him up, and now the damage is getting reversed. It's going on to the Con, it's going on to Inara, and it's going into the payload. Ninjas in Pyjamas with a clean 4-0 day.
Very good attempts there from the Renegades to hold that defense. NIP just looking better today. I think that's really the simplest way to put it. That wasn't really a bad draft from the Renegades either. I really liked it on paper. In practice, they won a couple of fights. NIP is just looking very dangerous. It's awesome to see what a week of scrims will do. I mean, the Renegades beat Kanga. That was a big upset for them in week number 1, but Kanga looked like a very different team after another week on scrims. NIP starting to look like a very different team after a week of scrims.
NIP looking good, NIP feeling good. Let's send it back to the desk to wrap up the day.
Well, it's go hard or go home. NIP went hard. Renegades are going home. And one of the things, I guess first I'm going to go into the one that was specific to that game. That Evil Mojo that just eviscerated Renegades blew my mind. And that's what I like to see from NIP.
There's just there's not a lot to say about this. And it's just 2 teams on different planets. Different galaxies, you know, solar systems. It's not even close. And disappointed because I wanted to see a good matchup today. I thought we were going to get one. I thought, you know, this was going to be something that gave us a greater look at both of these teams. Right now, I'm more confused than ever about the Renegades, and I'm also really clear, though, on that NIP are a top-tier team, and they are going to be vying for the 1 spot. this season.
I'm actually really excited because I know, and we'll look at this again later, but their schedule for tomorrow, I believe, is going up against Envy. So that's where, again, you're starting to see it. I'm curious how Envy's going to take the loss today and convert it to something tomorrow.
It's not guaranteed. It's really going to be a it's going to be a rough one because honestly, Envy are now feeling pretty down, but they will be putting in the work. NIP have already put in the work. Both teams are now essentially here on even playing field, having played a lot this week in scrims and prepped. So that will be a very fun set to watch. But the Renegades losing, in my opinion, a lot of the luster of a first pick con because Moonchopper's not as familiar with that role, right?
Yeah.
So if you are first picking something for a person who's going to play it out of, this is not against Moonchopper, it's just saying if you're going to give me 5 out of a 10 out of a potential of con, why not look at maybe doing some triple DPS lineups, Why not try to get Moonchopper back on a DPS? It's not that he did bad, he did fine, but you need those first picks to really change the dynamic and force NIP into a bad spot. They had no answer to the Pip as well. That was another huge thing. They just didn't know how to deal with it or draft around it. But I think that there's just a little bit of a better understanding, not only just play, but just a better understanding of the meta and definitely the team. And that's to be expected. Renegades still playing with a sub, still trying to figure it out. Don't know who's coming in.
And do you think, I guess, like for the Renegades, especially after a match like this, they have to go in tomorrow.
Yeah.
I believe tomorrow they're playing up against Virtus Pro, so already a team that's proven their worth today being able to beat Envy, but what changes do they have to make? Like, what do they have to do for tomorrow to make them look better?
If I was a Renegades coach, and I'm obviously not, I would just say, I don't think we gave ourselves the best chance to do this. I don't think we felt comfortable on the champions we picked. We didn't look comfortable. We didn't have plans for these maps that, we had, for whatever reason, kind of gone to, right? Ice Mines was the only map they kind of looked comfortable, and that's been their safety map throughout it. So I'd look at triple DPS. You had an option to go with the Genos there. BK, Con, Genos, Jag, Falls. That sounded like a start to something good for me, but obviously they felt that they needed something with the Inara, maybe looking to see where Moonchopper can flex even out of that aggressive tank role. I'm excited though, but right now I'm just a little, in Volk, it's a rare day that Invocal is just not around.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I feel like part of it is maybe them not hitting the way that they expected to, not feeling the way they expected to, but also maybe just being locked down too much from NIP, which again are the guys who were able to win 4-0, so even better than their coach thought. We actually have Bonkar and Diggy Dog standing by for an interview to see how they feel after that big win against Renegades.
Hello guys, first of all, congratulations on your big win. Bonkar and Diggy Dog sitting here with us. After a long week break like that, how important is it that you win, and especially win in a big way like that? Or how does it feel?
I mean, it feels really good, right? Like I said, we've been on the grind, so we kind of expected this overall.
Very aggressive today, boys. Very aggressive we were, especially the Barrack on Ice Mines. I mean, you get right up in there. It was at least the top point of that little sticky note that you showed us was to be aggressive. Was that a personal note for you to do today and focus on, or for the team? Because it felt like a very team aggressive effort.
Well, overall it is team aggressive, right? Because I make space for everyone else, but that is for me for my push tank role. So there's other points in there, but you guys can't know them.
Yeah, quick top secret info here. Quick question about Genos. Genos was such a priority in that first set today. Didn't quite appear to be as highly prioritized. Still picked a decent amount in this set, but overlooked sometimes in this game. Do you guys feel as you go from week to week, it's almost a different meta that you got to play in every one of these sets?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the meta changes all the time, but that's because you get used to playing against that current meta. So you look into how to break that current meta, so the meta just changes overall all the time. Some people like the Genos and some people don't like it that much.
How did you guys feel about the 3 tanks on Ice Mines? Is that something Ice Mines specific? Is that something you might look to pull out more? Or is that just kind of on the fly, or was that premeditated?
That was just having some fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that the way you guys kind of felt about this set?
Yeah,
You had a lot of smiles today on the set.
The most important thing is to have fun when you play. And that's like, when we scream, it's also like, have fun. Do jank shit.
Right. Awesome. So that's going to do it for us here, guys. Again, congratulations. We're going to get it back up to the desk and wrap up the day.
A lot coming down from those guys that, again, a very big congratulations for them being able to win. But I feel like today,
big win.
To me, at least kind of solidified. I was thinking more, I want to say more out of Renegades from what I've seen the last couple times they played. And I didn't know what to expect out of NIP. Now I think I actually have a much more solid grasp on what NIP is going to be looking like this split.
It was like flying into the Duke UNC game, and then Zion Williamson gets hurt 30 seconds into the game, and you're like, I thought I was gonna see something else here. But I mean, honestly, they're a great team, group of guys. Even though they were losing, I think they more expected this, to be honest. For whatever reason, with the travel, things that seemingly sensed to be different than the week prior.
Yeah.
And we'll see how they bounce back. Now that's a storyline we'll be following. But again, NIP more and more solidifying their spot to vie for the #1 place. And boy, what a matchup that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's going to be some heavy hitters.
And we actually have the schedule ready to look forward to. So for everyone who's wondering what's going on, well, those were all the matches we had today. Virtus Pro and Envy was a hell of a set. If you missed that, go back and watch it. I think I'm going to go watch it when I get home anyway. I know Envy's going to be watching it.
Yeah.
Just to be able to enjoy it and experience it. But then tomorrow is going to be the big day. Teams kind of swapping their opponents, Envy and NIP, Renegades and Virtus Pro. So you're going to want to tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. to be able to see it. But, I mean, are either of those matchups like kind of standing out to you? Like, which one's going to be the bigger of two behemoths?
Honestly, I think at this point, Virtus Pro are going to run through Renegades unless they change something here. I don't see any chance for Renegades to stop against this Virtus Pro team, especially after they beat Envy. It's not just the fact that they're great. They have a lot of talent. They maybe would be, expected to win anyways, but they have momentum. NIP and Envy, this final set of tomorrow, that's the one that I think is going to be a lights-out show. You do not want to miss that one, because not only is NIP now playing at the top of their game, they've got this new really heavy look at how they want to play this new meta, and it's done well, but then Envy have just lost. These guys are going to be, I mean, they might pull an all-nighter. They're like, we cannot lose anymore. They need to go back at it. They're going to have such an important value set on this. They can't go 0-2 this week. There's no way.
Yeah, no, I mean, already they were coming into this week as the undefeated team, and unfortunately, I believe now the only undefeated team is technically Space Station. That's just because they haven't played yet. You can see them down 0-0-0. They're going to be joining us next week. NIP, actually, now the only undefeated team that has played those games, and sitting up at #1. Technically a better win-loss than Natus Vincier, same plus-minus. And Envy are #3, Virtus Pro. I'm going to say that's misleading because as though they're #4.
No.
Those top 4 teams, I'm even going to throw Kanga in there as well, really can go anywhere.
I mean, what's great is that Na'Vi, Envy beat Na'Vi, right? VP beat Envy. So if NIP could stay away from that and start really strong, they could basically just beat Envy, right? And then they're not in that like little tie break between those 2-3 teams that are going to be contesting them. If they just like win out over there, they haven't taken their losses yet. Versus, obviously if Na'Vi win front, but then Envy come back and tie, it's like, oh well, tiebreakers, blah blah blah. So it's a pretty crazy one, but I cannot wait for tomorrow. It should be a really nice matchup.
And tomorrow's when it's going to continue. As of today, everything's been done, dusted. We had a 4-2, we had a 4-0, and Virtus Pro take out over Envy. NIP take it out over Renegades. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, tomorrow 1 p.m. same place, same start time as today. We will be continuing with 2 more incredible looking matches, but you're gonna have to tune in then to see it. My name's been Gormizer. From everyone here at Skillshot, from everyone production, from everyone who has been tuning in, thank you just for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. The Paladins Premier League, brought to you by Skillshot.